That is Nine's afternoon news. Our next bulletin at 6 o'clock with Peter Overton. I'm Davina Smith. Have a great evening. We'll see you tomorrow.
Tonight, police claim William Tyrrell's foster mother knows where he is. A coalition of concern in Western Sydney over returning Islamic State families. The young police officer sacked by the Commissioner after being charged with high-range drink driving. Pokey pledge, the Premier says machines will go cashless and you'll need a card to play. 4 heroes and a new National Day. The Kokoda campaign, remembered 80 years on. Plus Ricky Ponting's brutal call on Pat Cummins to save Australia's World Cup.
This is 9 News with Peter Overton.
Castle Hill, Marsden Park, the free urgent care clinic set for our western suburbs to help you avoid the ED queue. The giant tree that came tumbling down on a popular Sydney beach. The gunman who killed 17 high school students in Florida learns his fate. And wartime work, the rare photos of the late Queen Elizabeth. In the news ahead, police find themselves the target as their cars go up in flames. The mega cemetery plan for Western Sydney that's causing a stir in the community. The spirit of disappointment. National carrier Qantas named and shamed. The hidden summer holiday gems right on your doorstep that won't break the bank. And the spooky transformation of Campbelltown as a famous festival gets underway.
9 News brought to you by Pino Clean. It's not clean unless it's Pino Clean.
Sophie, thank you. Ahead in 9 News, the safe, painless and non-invasive treatment that could help those suffering Alzheimer's disease. Warnings about a shortage of a life-saving anti-tick medication, what every pet owner needs to know. That story coming up. James, Australia might have to do the unexpected to stay alive at the World Cup.
Yes, Pete. Ricky Ponting thrived under pressure, so he knows what it takes to in a must-win moment just like this one. But why does he believe that Pat Cummins should be axed from the all-or-nothing match with Afghanistan? Kangaroo Angus Crichton opens up on his decision to turn his back on big money to stay a Rooster. Plus, the Bondi personal trainer on a mission to help take down Sonny Bill Williams.
And how long will this cold November weather last? I'll have your full forecast, including what's in store for the weekend, shortly.
Now is the time to cut Pat Cummins. With the Aussies needing a big win tomorrow night, punter wants to make room for big hitting all-rounder Cameron Green, whose skipper Aaron Finch is still very much in doubt.
Strolling onto Adelaide Oval, Australian captain Aaron Finch looked relaxed as he underwent one of the most important fitness tests of his career. After a light shuffle with a Sharon and a quick stretch, Finch took flight, testing his injured hamstring with some short, sharp sprints.
If I feel like it, 1% would be compromising the side's performance, I won't play.
After a few, Finch pulled up fast. Concern for the captain as he headed to the nets for a debrief with coach Andrew McDonald.
You don't want to compromise the team's performance by having a guy go down who comes in with the niggles.
Tim David also remains in doubt with a hamstring issue. There's nothing wrong with Cameron Green, who also had a heart-to-heart with his coach.
They might have the luxury of just playing that extra batsman and maybe even let Green go into the top and just absolutely tee off at the top, or they use him as a floater in the middle order somewhere.
Ricky Ponting endorsing the all-rounder regardless of Finch's availability, but at the expense of the country's Test and one-day captain.
If they are thinking about that, then maybe it is Cummins that goes and Green comes in.
The former skipper concedes Australia only has a slim chance of advancing to the finals, but urged Finch's men to go all out against Afghanistan.
They're going to have to take a real risk. If they lose trying to win it well, then that's the way it is.
Zach Bailey, 9 News.
Ben Hunt has missed out on the Kangaroos' 19-man squad for Saturday's World Cup quarter-final, making it increasingly likely Daly Cherry-Evans will start on the bench. Angus Crichton will line up in the back row and has revealed why he took a pay cut to stay a Rooster.
Angus Crichton in camp with the Kangaroos, and finally some good news back home, a 2-year extension with the Roosters.
It's tough to even put into words like how much I love the Roosters and the feeling that I get when I talk about the Roosters. So to be able to finally get that across the line, it's a big weight off my shoulders and a big relief. And yeah, I made it quite clear from the start that I never wanted to leave.
Crichton so determined to stay, he did so for less money.
Yeah, sometimes you've got to do that kind of thing, and yeah, sometimes it's not about the money, it's about the experience and the people, and I think you sort of get paid back in other areas where you experience things and the relationships you make, and like I said, the kind of person that you become, and I feel like I've grown into the person I am now through being at the club.
For that, he's got Trent Robinson to thank, especially when he first moved to the Roosters and was in and out of the starting side.
I think if I didn't handle it the way that I did, I think that he would have got rid of me pretty fast. And I think looking back on it now, it's almost the tough times that he put me through was almost like a test to say, like, are you going to stand up and be a man? Are you going to face what's actually happening here, or are you going to run away from it and hide? And I think going through that tough times definitely does make you grow and opens your eyes a little bit to where you are at.
Crichton has been one of Australia's best at the World Cup. He's considered a guaranteed starter for their finals campaign, which kicks off on Saturday morning against Lebanon. In Manchester, Emma Lawrence, 9 News.
Sam Bremner became the most prolific try scorer in Gillaroos history this morning as Australia kicked off the Women's World Cup with a 74-0 thrashing of the Cook Islands. The co-captain scoring 4 tries in her first international match since 2016, while Rugby Sevens Olympic gold medalist Savania Pilates crossed for a hat-trick. Well, Mark Hunt is a huge underdog heading into his fight with Sonny Bill Williams on Saturday, but he has revealed a secret weapon heading into the bout. The former UFC star has enlisted the help of a Bondi personal trainer to give him a ruthless edge.
It was Sonny Bill, the family man, with his kids in his arms. He looked anything but a fighter. But don't be fooled, his preparation has been perfect.
A little bit psycho when it comes to my preparation, but, you know, it puts me in the best place possible. And now all I got to do is go out there and showcase what I've been working on.
Williams has an obvious physical edge, but an intense Thailand camp under the watchful eye of Bondi-based personal trainer Mel Bachesky has worked wonders for Mark Hunt.
We actually met at a barbecue and he said he needed a trainer. And I said, F yeah, I'll do it. He was around 157, so he says. And so the plan was to just have him dropping the weight, being agile, injury-free, happy.
Dropped 30 kilos in a short space of time. How do you feel?
I feel good. I feel a lot healthier than I was. I was pushing on 160 kilos. Didn't really have any direction, to be honest.
The weight strip was a steady process.
The rough plan was over 3 months. The first month was to just get him moving. So we'd do, for example, a conditioning session in the morning at the gym. And then the second session of the day was him literally just walking around a lake in Thailand, in Phuket. He had an old calf injury, so I told him no running, no skipping. He just had to get moving because he'd been on the couch for 2 years eating cheesecake.
And Mel says Hunter's done the work.
He would never refuse, he'd never argue, he'd never stop. That's just how he works. He's just, if anything, I had to tell him to rest.
Danny Weidler, 9 News.
It was Ladies' Day at the Melbourne Cup Carnival as the 3-year-old fillies jumped in the VRC Oaks, a surname synonymous with the success at Flemington, taking out the feature race. Anthony Cummings, son of the legendary Bart, winning with favourite She's Extreme, who was ridden by Tommy Berry. Australia's Alex de Minaur has pulled off the biggest win of his tennis career, defeating former world number one Daniil Medvedev. It's the first time de Minaur has beaten a top 5 ranked opponent, knocking the Russian out at the Paris Masters in 3 sets. The Aussie will now face Francis Tiafoe in the final 16. Medvedev not too happy about the results. And baseball's World Series is all tied up. Houston drawing level with Philadelphia. The Astros scoring all their runs in the one inning to beat Phillies 5-0. The series is locked at 2-2 with Game 5 coming tomorrow morning. And couldn't be happier for our New South Wales Australian of the Year, Craig Foster. Peter, great man doing even greater things. Well done.
And wonderful news as well, James, for 89-year-old Teresa Plain, the New South Wales Senior Australian of the Year. She's a pioneer in palliative care, so well done, Teresa. Ahead in the news, a huge rate rise causes huge pain on our share market. A loose truck tyre hurtling towards a moving car. How does it end? How Australian scientists hope a painless treatment could improve the lives of those with Alzheimer's. And it's beginning to look a lot like Christmas as David Jones kicks off festivities.